Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. Celebrating professional wrestling from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For wrestling fans, by wrestling fans.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to episode 12 of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. First of all, before we go any further, I just want to let you guys know I'm out here in Southern California. I'm currently watching Game 2 of the World Series.
As am I.
Tied 5-5.
And we're both Dodger fans, so.
It's tied 5-5, top of the 11th right now. So if we're in the middle of a conversation and one of us breaks out and starts screaming or yelling, we're just apologizing right now because we're a little excited that our team is, playing well. First time they've been in the World Series since '88, and
yay, we made it in under 30 years.
Yeah, I know exactly. So, but on this week's episode, we're going to talk about the results and our thoughts on the WWE pay-per-view TLC, SmackDown taking siege of Monday Night Raw, Jeff Jarrett's official release from Impact, his response, and now breaking news about Jeff Jarrett. It also looks like the WWE is closer to being done with Neville. Our Ghost of Wrestling Past segment, we're going to cover In Your House 16, Canadian Stampede, and our Indie Spotlight segment is going to be on Cen-Cal Professional Wrestling, based out of San Luis Obispo, California. But first, it's time for the Wrestling Results Roundup.
The Wrestling Results Roundup. Here are the results from this week's televised shows. On NXT, Ember Moon beat Ruby Riott and Sonya Deville to qualify for the Women's Championship match at TakeOver. Aleister Black beat Raul Mendoza. Cassius Ohno beat Cesar Bononi. And Sanity, Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane beat the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. On Lucha Underground, Ultima Lucha Tres Part 4, Matanza Cueto beat Dragon Azteca Jr., Mil Muertes beat Cage and Jeremiah Crane in an elimination match to win the Gauntlet of the Gods. Prince Puma beat Johnny Mundo to win the Lucha Underground Championship, and Pentagon Dark beat Prince Puma to win the Lucha Underground Championship. On GFW Impact Wrestling, Johnny Impact beat Chris Adonis, Tejano beat James Storm, El Hijo del Fantasma, Eddie Edwards, and Ethan Carter III. Desmond Xavier beat Andrew Everett. World Tag Team Champions OVE, Jake and Dave Christ beat Black Diamond and Black Danger. And Taya Valkyrie beat Rosemary. On WWE Main Event, Rhino beat Dash Wilder, and Mustafa Ali beat Drew Gulak. On the WWE TLC Kickoff Show, Sasha Banks beat Alicia Fox. On WWE TLC 2017, Asuka beat Emma. Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann beat Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick. Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss beat Mickie James. Enzo Amore beat Kalisto to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Finn Balor beat AJ Styles. Jason Jordan beat Elias. And Kurt Angle, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose beat The Miz, Sheamus, Cesaro, Braun Strowman, and Kane in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. On Ring of Honor TV, Marty Scurll beat Jay White. The Dogs, Rhett Titus and Will Ferrara beat the Tempura Boys, Show and Yo. And Mark Briscoe beat Chuck Taylor, Shane Taylor, and Punishment Martinez to become the #1 contender to the World Television Championship. On WWE Raw, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose beat The Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Kane beat Finn Balor. Asuka beat Emma. Jason Jordan beat Elias. Alicia Fox beat Sasha Banks and Bayley and was named the captain of the Raw Women's Survivor Series team. And Kalisto, Rich Swann, Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, and Gran Metalik beat Enzo Amore, Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, Noam Dar, and Drew Gulak. On WWE SmackDown Live, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin beat The New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. Sin Cara beat United States Champion Baron Corbin in a non-title match. AJ Styles beat Sunil Singh. Becky Lynch beat Charlotte Flair, Tamina, Carmella, and Naomi, and was named the captain of the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team. And Randy Orton beat Sami Zayn to earn a spot on the SmackDown Men's Survivor Series team. On WWE 205 Live, Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander beat Noam Dar and Tony Nese. Drew Gulak beat Gran Metalik, and Kalisto beat Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore via disqualification. And that's all for this week's Wrestling Results Roundup.
I'm Mike, alongside with the founder of ProWrestlingAlmanac.com, Tristan. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Just to let you guys know, listening, Chad has decided to take some time away from the podcast with everything that's going on, and he mentioned it during the podcast a couple weeks ago with the foster parenting that him and his wife are going through. Him trying to be on here weekly is going to be a little tough. So
his life has gotten in the way a little bit.
Yeah, just a tad. Luckily my life is in bed right now and working. And
my life is 300 miles away.
Exactly. So it's a little easier for us right now, but he's still going to try to chime in on our social media segment whenever there's something interesting going on. And if we're going to try something new pretty soon, where we're going to do a show immediately after, if we can, right after the pay-per-views. So we can kind of give our right off the bat, don't have time to form an opinion or, wait till we see what happened on Raw or SmackDown to kind of possibly change our mind.
Just initial thoughts.
Just initial thoughts and reactions to the pay-per-view.
And then that way we're also not taking up an hour of a 2-hour show that shouldn't be a 2-hour show talking about the pay-per-view like we're probably going to do tonight.
Just a tad. So, although this might end quickly, especially with the fact that Houston is up now 7-5. This game is making me want to drink, but,
Well, hey, dude, if it's good enough for Jeff Jarrett to wrestle on, it's good enough for you to do a podcast on.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Not soon enough, dude.
Truthfully, it's never too soon as far as I'm concerned.
Me
but
too.
Well, let's get into, first of all, did pretty well on the predictions. Went 5 for 6, not including the last minute Jason Jordan Elias match. You went 4-5 with a one abstention.
Abstention, yes.
Yeah,
and I think that was a good call considering what happened.
That was just that entire match. But we'll get onto that one in a minute. But first and foremost, we had the opening match on the kickoff show between Sasha and Alicia Fox. Sasha won. I don't know what they're doing with Alicia. This whole crazier 2 tacos short of a combo platter.
She's been doing that for a while, though. But did you see Raw?
I did.
Okay, so you know that they're doing something with her.
They are doing something with her. The question is, whatever that is, it's still to be determined. But, I mean, I really didn't think it was that great of a match.
To be fair, I have not seen it.
Okay.
Because I was traveling when the show was on, and I've only watched the...
Please. You weren't traveling. You were sitting on the side of the road in traffic. That does not count as traveling.
Hey, it does when... I didn't have any phone service, so I couldn't watch the show.
Okay, I'll give you that point then. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I mean, at least if I'm stuck on the 405 or the 91 and there's a SIG alert, I at least have a cell signal so I can watch the game.
Yeah, see, I was, pardon my language, but I was stuck in the middle of bumfuck Utah.
Yeah, just a tad.
With, on I-15 with no signal, so.
But yeah, no, it wasn't really that solid of a match. I just me personally, I just didn't like it. I mean,
wasn't that solid of a match was the tagline for TLC, I think.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I mean,
with the exception of the Finn AJ match, which was
we'll talk about that one. Okay, first, can we at least agree? We'll just get it out of the way. Match of the night.
I think I just said it. Tits and balls, dude.
Yeah. Second match on the card was Asuka versus Emma. That match disappointed me as well.
Yeah, they gave Emma way too much. Asuka should have come in and looked dominant. Unless they decide to do something with Emma PDQ, I don't see how that's a good thing. And then the follow-up on Raw was also equally disappointing.
That was one of the first things I texted you while you were sitting in traffic, is that I was absolutely surprised at how much offense Emma actually got into that match. And then following it up on Monday night, same thing. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of squash matches when it comes to a pay-per-view itself. I'm not. I don't mind it on a Raw or a SmackDown or even a house show. Pay-per-views, not so much, but this would have been the exception. I mean, I would not have.
It could have been a 5-minute squash match. It should just because the person is getting. Sorry, I just watched a ground ball bounce up and hit a guy in the face.
Man, that umpire is just having bad luck. He's getting thrown at. He's getting hit at. I mean, something would just say, get out of the way, buddy.
You can have a 5-minute squash or a 10-minute squash, because literally all you have to do is have Asuka just... She can manhandle, hit a few moves in succession. Emma breaks it up a little bit, can't string any offense together. She gets a little bit of a heat segment, and then Asuka just massacres her. And it's possible to do. And they
totally, but that wasn't the case. So once again, I mean, another what I considered the one match that I truly was looking forward to pre-card, pre-changes, pre-meningitis, leave of absence, all of that stuff. That was the match I was looking forward to because it was Asuka's debut. And
there's another home run. Dodgers just hit a solo home run.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So now it's 5-4.
No, it's 7-6.
Bottom 7, that's it. Sorry. 7-6, bottom of the 11th with 2 outs.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm not screaming about hockey this time.
Yes, that's true. And lying about whether or not you're watching the game. At least you were up front this time.
Yeah, at least I was up front this time. But yeah, so I walked away from that match kind of disappointed.
Right.
Then we had the out of nowhere Jason Jordan throwing fruits and vegetables at Elias, and that made absolutely
no. But see, I'm on board with anybody throwing fruits and vegetables at Elias.
I would have preferred them throw chairs at Elias, but that's a difference.
I don't hate Elias, but I think it fits with the gimmick. But I find it just very, very funny that the good guys so often behave in more heelish fashion than the heels.
Yes.
Like, for example, I was watching some old NWA Mid-Atlantic WCW stuff from 85, and they were building up to the feud at Starrcade between Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard. The Steel Cage I Quit match for the U.S. title.
Okay.
And Baby Doll, Tully's manager, valet, comes out and is talking smack to Tully, and Tully just grabs her and kisses her, with David Crockett in the back screaming, "Oh, she likes it, she likes it." It's just straight up sexual assault nowadays.
Just a tad.
And then she slaps him. And then as she's walking off, he grabs her by her sweater and ends up almost tearing her sweater off. That is sexual assault.
Or as Harvey Weinstein likes to call it, a job interview. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Too soon.
So,
too soon.
Yeah, it's like I said, the one time was one thing. And then it happened again. And then they finally just threw a match together between the two. Mm-hmm. Still trying to figure out why they did that, other than the fact that they needed some filler, because that was a very fast pay-per-view leading up to the last two matches of the evening. Well, what were the last two scheduled matches of the evening?
I think the Finn Bray match would have gone on longer than the Finn AJ match with the theatrics that would have been involved.
Yes. I agree. And I think maybe that was part of the problem. They were probably, having to do, I guarantee you probably would have done some of the same things they did at WrestleMania with the projector on this, the mat thing playing around.
Good Lord, I hope not. That was terrible.
That was bad. So, all right. Third match of the evening was Cedric Alexander and Rick Swann versus Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick.
First of all, it's Gallagher. Come on now.
Gallagher. Sorry,
Gallagher.
It's been a long day. So we both picked for that one, Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick. That was the one match of the evening that we were both wrong.
Yeah. That was a toss-up, though. That match could have not been on the show and wouldn't have made a difference. They had the blow-off match to the feud, the real feud between Gallagher and Alexander on Raw. So the match on pay-per-view, like I said last week, the match that was on pay-per-view should have been on Raw and vice versa.
No, definitely. I totally agree with that. The Raw match, I think, was definitely better than the match they had on the pay-per-view. So, it was still a decent match. Definitely better than the first two matches of the evening. We then moved into the Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss defeating Mickie James.
I liked that match.
It was good.
Yes. Now, so I have to kind of step back from my wasn't as good as expected. This match actually exceeded my expectations.
Okay. Explain.
I didn't expect too much from Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, as far as the fact that Mickie James, while she still has great matches, is getting older, and Alexa Bliss is not the strongest in-ring performer. So I didn't expect a great match, and we got a very good match.
For me, I actually got a kick out of the pre-match segment where they were interviewing Alexa, and when they were like, "Oh, she was making fun of your butt," and she's like, "I like my butt. I got a cute butt."
Yep.
It was just funny. But yeah, no, good match. Mickey's put on good matches throughout her career.
Yes.
I like the fact that this wasn't a one and done for her. It looks like they're continuing it over as of what happened on Monday Night Raw when she came back out and attacked Alexa.
Hey, let me just interject right now. You can't see because you're a little behind me, but it's 2 outs, full count, and that's the game.
Oh.
So Houston won 7-6. I can turn my TV off now. And we now bring you the remainder of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast without further interruptions.
All right. Match after that, Kalisto versus Enzo. Enzo picks up the win.
Entertaining.
It was entertaining.
Not that good a match.
Not a good match.
Again, though, I love when heels win like heels. I love it.
I agree. I mean, I've always said it. Whether or not they win dirty, they should at least be trying to win dirty.
Oh yeah.
Once in a blue moon, if they end up picking up a clean win, I'm okay with that. But I like watching a heel cheat to win. It's just it's old school. It's always worked. It continues to work.
Not every heel needs to do it, but a heel like Enzo does
needs to do it. Although I do have to admit, the promo that he cut, or let me rephrase that, the promo that the 205 Live guys cut for him
on Raw
on Monday Night Raw. That was pretty funny.
It reminded me when Road Dogg lost his voice and had Billy Gunn doing his little spiel with cue cards. Oh man, yeah.
No, it that was entertaining. I actually kind of got a kick out of that.
Well, Drew Gulak doing it all prim and proper.
Oh yeah, no, definitely
good stuff.
But once again, wasn't a great match. Kind of, right along the lines with the first two matches of the evening. They were there. It was just there. It wasn't anything to write home about. Now we get to the match that you and I considered the match of the evening.
I don't know who wouldn't consider it the match of the evening. The only way it wouldn't be is if you got way caught up in the nostalgia kick of the main event.
Yeah, well, for this one, you had the Demon Finn Balor defeating AJ Styles via pinfall.
Yes.
I watched that match twice that day. I watched it live, and I went back and watched it again. And
how did it hold up the second time?
It held up just as good the first time. I did not see, other than one, and I caught it the first time, caught it again the second time, when Finn was trying to go for a submission move and he botched grabbing AJ's leg. Yeah. He slipped. I mean, and that
it happens. It happens.
It happened a lot during the main event with Kurt Angle, by the way, who showed a lot of ring rust to start off with.
It's been over a year or about a year since he wrestled last. So.
But this match was incredible. I mean, this match, it came in roughly around 18 minutes. For something that was thrown together just 2 days before, you could not have asked for a better result.
Well, and you say it was thrown together 2 days before. I would contend that it was called live.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then the little Bullet Club shout out.
Oh,
just the little kick in the dick to the Young Bucks.
Oh, well, first of all, I love the fact that the match starts off and the two are standing in the ring together and the crowd starts doing the Young Bucks Too Sweet chant, which, was probably driving them nuts. And then these guys put on what could probably go down as match of the year.
No.
You don't think so?
Not even close. Sorry.
For a singles match?
No, not even close. You want to talk right off the top of my head? AJ Styles, John Cena at Royal Rumble. If we're just talking WWE match of the year, AJ Styles, John Cena at the Royal Rumble.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I may have to go back and watch that one. It's been a while, so.
Well, yeah, like 10 months.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe, but it still was an amazing match.
It was a great match. It will always hold up as a great match. It wasn't any better than that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I really liked it.
I did too. I'm not trying to take anything away from the match. It's just that match with John Cena was a 5-star match. The match AJ Styles and John Cena this was not a 5-star match.
So what would you give this one?
4.5.
4.5.
It's up there. Okay. It's up there, man. It's just not. A 5-star match has to be perfect in all aspects. Basically, it has to be virtually perfect. The psychology has to be perfect. The storyline has to be perfect.
Okay. See, now that you mention it that way, I can agree with you on that just because of the sheer fact this match was thrown together.
I mean, like I say, as much as they can put a storyline together in the match, that holds up. But what I'm saying is that there were parts move-wise of the match that were less than perfect. You can't have a perfect match if you don't have a perfect match.
That's true. So, I mean, we'll still give it match of the evening.
Without question.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that very end, the little Too Sweet hand gesture.
Yeah, that was
between
nice.
The two of them. That was nice. And like you said, that was a nice little middle finger to the to the Bullet Club and Ring of Honor. So next match was our cool-down match between Jason Jordan and Elias.
And let's just move right on.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get to
actually, it really wasn't that bad a match. It really wasn't. But
it was one of those that it was there. Yeah, it was pretty much the storyline, like you said, for this entire pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It was just there. There was nothing to write home about.
It was supposed to be a time filler. It filled time. It served its purpose. It was nothing special. It was put between the top two matches to cool the crowd down, to give the crowd a time to go to the bathroom, whatever they wanted to do. It did that. It was never. It's not supposed to. Could it have stolen the show? Absolutely. But it's not gonna.
No, definitely not. So, and then we got to our main event, the 5-on-3 TLC match. Give me your initial opinion of that match.
Charlie Foxtrot.
Yeah.
Big time. So, you know, I expressed my distaste for the match when it was a 4-on-3. And then when it was a 5-on-3, I expressed further distaste. Then they made the change, and it intrigued me. I wanted to see how they were going to make it work. I get the feeling that they didn't change the booking of the match at all.
I agree.
Which I get the feeling that pretty much everything that was supposed to go down in that match went down exactly as it would have were Roman Reigns still in that match.
Yep.
Well, maybe not everything. If Roman Reigns was in the match, there's a chance that the tables wouldn't have been actively trying to kill Dean Ambrose. But beyond that, you know, you talk about the ring rust from Kurt Angle. It wasn't bad. His timing was a little off.
No.
His timing was a little off.
His timing was off. I mean, it's not like he put on a shit show performance.
Right. Would you like to see him have that first match back at WrestleMania and have to work the timing out then?
No, but let's be honest. No. And I know where you're going with this, but here's the difference. I think a lot of people, and from what I can gather, as excited as people were about the fact that Kurt Angle was going to be wrestling in a pay-per-view, a lot of people were pissed, though. And a lot of people were pissed because they felt that they've been lied to for a long period of time. You know, here it is, Angle comes back, and, you know, the WWE has been saying for, you know, since he was announced that he was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, that he has not passed his physical. He has not been cleared to wrestle.
I don't recall any official statement saying anything of the sort.
I could have sworn I remember the WWE came out at one point and said that Kurt Angle had not been cleared yet to wrestle.
Okay, so what I remember hearing was, I believe, from Triple H, and they were saying not that Kurt hadn't been cleared to wrestle, but that Kurt wrestling wasn't in the cards at this time. Meaning they didn't have any plans for him to be in the ring at that point. So you do know, however, that the physicals are only required. They only do the physicals for full-time performers. They don't have to do them for part-time performers. So if this was just a one-time thing to fix an event, then they could have just, when they found out that Roman was going to be out, they could have just said, Kurt, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, that is true. Let me see.
I mean, they're not a sanctioned sport. They can do whatever the hell they want. They choose to do these physicals and stuff to keep their performers safe or as safe as possible.
Yeah, so when he was doing, and this is only one of the things I found just on a quick typing up, but when he was being interviewed for the new 2K18 game, the legend said that his return will happen. When speaking at a press conference, Angle admitted, though, that he has not yet had a physical, but remained upbeat about his chances to tear it up with the WWE.
There you go. That's exactly the same thing that I just said.
It is.
That's not saying that he hadn't been cleared. That's saying that
I could have sworn I had seen more.
You can't fail a test you haven't taken.
Yeah. No, definitely. So just people were talking about it that way. I mean, that's just what I was reading, leading up to this.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of people wanted to see that match at WrestleMania against someone big. I kind of have a feeling, and we'll get into this a little bit with what happened on Monday Night Raw, but I think we might actually see another match out of Angle at Survivor Series.
Possibly.
Because those two have had in-ring history before.
Yeah. I mean, that might not be a bad way to go for WrestleMania either.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I would much rather see a Shane Kurt Angle match at WrestleMania than a Shane Triple H or a Triple H Kurt Angle match at WrestleMania.
I would rather see Shane against if they're insistent upon doing part-timer matches, which they are, and let's be real, you can hate them all you want, it's smart money. It's smart. I mean, it sucks for the guys who've been busting their ass all year to get to WrestleMania and then to get left off the card in favor of The Rock or whomever. Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, Floyd Mayweather.
Hey,
you name
Eric
it.
Rowan still got his 15 seconds.
3 seconds. And you know what? I actually did not hate that. I'm a lot more forgiving to that segment than most people. We'll talk about that at some point. But yeah. So, if you're going to have Kurt Angle on the card, put him up against somebody who is not... Okay, so Kurt Angle, he's a legend. At this point in his career, what does anybody get out of beating him?
Nothing.
Bragging rights, that's it, right?
That's it, yeah.
So...
kind of like Roman Reigns beating Undertaker.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't end a streak. It had happened 3 years prior, buddy. Okay, you got the bragging rights.
So the thing is like going back to... we'll say SummerSlam 2005. Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan beat Shawn Michaels. Who cares? Who cares? Shawn Michaels was at a stage in his career where he did not need to win another match, period. Shawn Michaels literally could have lost every match from the time from say like 2004 on. He had to win a few. He had to come to be still taken seriously when he came back. But he could have not won another match or another major match and still been one match away from a title shot at any given point. Just like John Cena, just like Randy Orton. These are guys that do not need to be winning matches of any consequence at this point. And so, same with Kurt Angle. Not that he's going to be one match away from a title shot, but he shouldn't really be winning any matches. I had no problem with him pinning The Miz because he didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Couple things from this match for me. I thought the match was too long.
Oh, dude, it was way too long. It had the same problem with the Hell in a Cell match, is that they're trying to fabricate these epic matches just by making them
longer.
And a long mediocre match doesn't feel epic. It feels long.
Well, there were points in that match where literally the match just came to a screeching halt.
Uh-huh.
It just out of nowhere, it's like, what the hell's going on? And then,
when you feel the need to just go ahead and commit a murder in the middle of a match, I mean, like, yeah, okay, so it wasn't the best match, but I don't know that they should have just killed Braun Strowman. Like, yeah. I don't think it was really his fault that the match was I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just wasn't pulling his weight. He's a pretty heavy guy. He's got a lot of weight to pull. So, they just murdered him. So there you go.
Yeah, did
you hear the crowd chanting that was murder?
Yeah. I mean, I think this kind of takes care of the Undertaker rumor about the Undertaker coming back, because the promo that was cut by Kane about why he turned on Strowman was simply just because, I'm the only monster that's on Raw, blah, blah, blah. There was nothing about this match that I liked other than the fact I did get to see Kurt Angle wrestle again.
Yeah, well, that and, like I say, the tables trying to kill Dean Ambrose. That was wonderfully entertaining. And yeah. I'll tell you what, like, the highlight of shows for me now is hearing Cesaro mumble through a promo.
Well, it is pretty priceless listening to him
talking like he's got a mouthful of marble. We don't just let the ball. We are the ball. And I mean, Sheamus sounds exactly the same as him, but that's just because of his freaking mushmouth accent. So
yeah. So all in all, you and I both agree we didn't like the match. I don't know if I
No. I did not say that.
Oh, okay.
I never said any such thing. I didn't dislike the match. For sure. There were definite moments of that match that entertained me. But I'm also the type of person that laughs at videos on YouTube of a guy juggling bowling balls and accidentally hitting a 5-year-old in the face.
Oh, that's true.
So, yeah.
It's only funny until someone gets hurt.
Oh, then it's hilarious, yes. And that match was, as the good old one used to say, was bowling shoe ugly. But it was like bowling shoes that had like glitter and sequins and lit up when you walked on them. Like, they're ugly as hell, but you're still gonna look at them and go, what? That's interesting. And everybody that you see you walk past is gonna look at those things. Doesn't mean that they're attractive.
Yeah.
It just means that it's drawing the attention. And that's what I've got with this match, is they had enough curb appeal going into the match to get people watching. I will admit, I marked out when Kurt came and stood behind the Shield when they were doing their entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, but then you had a lot of predictability in there. The match went exactly like it should have. Like, when the only time that the 3 guys were able to handle the 5 guys is when they had
chairs.
Chairs, ladders, whatever, right? They had weapons. And then they were able to separate them, pick them off, and it was done well. But... Yeah. And when I say it was done well, I'm referring to the psychology of it. In execution, it really wasn't. You're talking the lulls in the match. The situation between Kane and Strowman, it felt organic at first. And then it just felt like a what the hell is happening.
Well, exactly.
The second time when Kane attacked him.
Yeah, when Kane accidentally hit Strowman, with the chair.
Right, and if everything fell apart from there, then fine. But we were talking about this when we were watching it live, how I don't think any of us really saw when Strowman came out of under the chairs. He attacked the whole rest of his team because they were trying to get between him and Kane, which is why they all turned on him. And so neither one of us watching it live. I mean, granted, I was driving, or whatever, if you can call it driving. I was moving at the speed of a frickin' snail. It's like an Office Space. Old man on a walker was going faster than me.
You were still moving faster than the pace of this match, but...
Well, maybe, but we both missed that the reason Strowman got attacked was because he attacked the rest of his team. So that made perfect sense. I don't know that it necessarily warranted them just killing him, but I can see why they attacked him.
Yeah.
So the predictability of the you called it in a manner, sort of. You called it somewhat, in that Miz's team was going to fall apart, and that was going to even things up, which it did.
And the Miz ate the pin.
Which he did. And there's not one person watching the match that understands how wrestling works that didn't know the second Kurt went out, he was coming back.
Oh, exactly.
So there was no excitement there.
No, it was Austin Royal Rumble. It was Roman Reigns Royal Rumble.
It was they do it. They've done it a number of times.
Yep.
And they will do it a number more, and it will continue to be what it is. It is a classic storyline, not just a wrestling storyline, and any kind of storyline. It's an underdog thing. People like rooting for the underdog.
Yep.
The problem is that at no point do I think that anybody actually believed that the Shield were the underdogs going into the match, no matter how much they tried to stack the deck against them, just because people did not believe that they were going to reunite the Shield just to have them lose. And so they stacked this deck impossibly so people would buy into, maybe they are going to lose. No. They just thought, wow, this is going to be stupid because now they're going to beat everyone.
Well, exactly. And you also kind of had that feeling that as soon as it was announced, and like you said, they probably changed nothing with the booking.
No.
But the minute it was announced that Kurt Angle was going to be making his in-ring re-debut, there was no way he was losing that thing.
Oh, no. So. And if he did, it would have been done in a fashion where he was taken out of the match and did not come back. Exactly.
So, all right. Well, what grade would you give the pay-per-view?
B-.
I'm a little harsher. I gave it a C+. Okay. But not my most memorable pay-per-view of the year.
And we'll not SummerSlam.
No. So,
or what was the other? Not No Mercy. Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell was just bad.
Yeah. We'll find out when we go into Survivor Series. That'll be an interesting one, which leads us to our next topic. It seems like out of nowhere, the entire SmackDown roster decided to go heel.
Why is it going heel?
I know why. It's the SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series match.
Right. So why is that them going heel? Why is that them not just... it wasn't like they were going all out and doing things that they weren't doing anything beyond what they would do in a match. So they weren't actively going out and hurting people. They weren't running over people with cars, hitting people with chairs, slamming people into things. They really weren't doing that. They were just attacking them, throwing kicks, doing things that they would do in the ring, and they were just trying to make a statement. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to drum up brand support. They want some people to support Raw. They want some people to support SmackDown. I am all about it. And there were certain things that I really liked. Number one, when They went and attacked Jason Jordan in the dressing room. Chad Gable pushed his way to the front and attacked Jason Jordan first.
See, now I can appreciate something like that because it's continuity, it's storyline.
Right.
It's
just like AJ being involved in attacking Gallows and Anderson. And then on the flip, when the women started fighting, Becky was fighting with Mickie James, which made sense because Becky and Mickie James have a history. Also there, notice Charlotte wasn't there, but Becky and Sasha and Bayley, they didn't throw hands. They stayed away from each other. So that could have been purely coincidental, but I noticed it.
I could have sworn I thought I saw her.
No, Becky was fighting with
No,
Nikki.
I know that, but I'm saying I thought Charlotte was there for that.
No, I didn't see Charlotte, at least not at that part, because it was Natalya and Carmella, and Tamina was there. But I did not see Charlotte, at least in that part.
Okay, I could have sworn I thought when they had the initial, everybody came in and they went backstage. I could have sworn I thought I saw her.
Well, it wasn't the whole roster. It was only like 20 people.
But I could have sworn I thought I saw her.
Well, maybe you did. Maybe I'm just mistaken. But I did not see her in that when the girls were scrapping.
So
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I was online talking with people on Yes Wrestling, cheap plug, that talking with them that they were just hating on it. And it didn't seem like they had any kind of rationale. Their rationale for it was utilizing traditional character models for expressing their behavior. And you can't do that because they were getting into a situation where their brand was more important than them. And now, that doesn't mean I really would have liked it if they didn't have Dolph Ziggler there. Because just like not having Brock Lesnar there. Now, I'm not trying to equate Lesnar and Ziggler. Don't get me wrong. But Ziggler being there kind of undercuts what he's doing right now, character-wise. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
Okay. I mean, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think Ziggler needed to be there at all.
That's kind of sad, though, isn't it?
It is. So I was rewatching the original segment. Sorry, that's why I was taking a little bit of time. You're right. She wasn't there.
Okay.
I thought I had seen her, but no, she wasn't. But yeah, here it is. You got, he was the guy that was just out of place. I mean, and you got
again. I don't know that
Roode.
He was really out of place, except when he was fighting side by side with Bobby Roode.
That's what I was just going to say. That you got him and Bobby Roode standing right next to each other, and they're both yelling at Baron Corbin to kick someone in the face, and it's like, you two absolutely hate each other. Allegedly.
So think of it like, okay, when you were a kid. Or how many times have you and I been, nose to nose arguing about something, but if anybody else had gotten involved, we would have just kicked the shit out of them.
Well, it's the typical I don't get to talk crap about my best friend. You don't get to
talk about him that way. Yeah. And that's
only I get to talk that way.
And so you're looking at SmackDown as being a whole, and the cogs on SmackDown, the performers on SmackDown are parts of that whole and are viewing themselves as such. And so that's why a lot of people were really upset that Lesnar didn't get involved. And I was like, did you not see the promo that happened earlier tonight? He would never be involved. He's not going into Survivor Series waving some banner saying, yay, I'm part of Raw.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could care less. I mean, it's all about
couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
You ignorant bastard.
Once again, it's been a long day.
What's your excuse the rest of the time?
It is. Well, it normally is a long day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We're not getting any younger.
No.
Speaking of which, I had my birthday on Monday and am now 1 year closer to 40. Yay, 37. I'm old.
Which means you're 13 years away from your AARP card, buddy.
Dude, since I retired from the military, I get stuff from the AARP all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, dude, not just that. I get like retirement homes, hearing aids, samples of adult diapers. It's awesome.
Oh God. So
I'm like,
it'll be.
I retired when I was 32 years old. Okay,
that's true.
And I've been getting this stuff since.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, getting back to this, we got 4 weeks until Survivor Series. So it'll be interesting to see where they build it up, what goes down with that. You had at the end of SmackDown, Daniel Bryan warning Shane, that you better be prepared to deal with this because that's your job.
Well, I do like that Raw didn't show up at SmackDown.
Oh no, I agree.
They have to retaliate though.
Well,
they're going to look like chumps.
I would almost like to see them do it in smaller style where 1 to 2 guys come in and just interrupt a match or something, not the entire roster.
Sure. But see, it's going to be interesting because the only feud on SmackDown that has been to the level of the Miz and crew against the Shield is Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon.
Yes.
So I'm really hoping that they continue to play that up, in that Kevin Owens can't coexist with, because Kevin Owens should be part of the team. Sami Zayn is not, but Kevin Owens should be. Yeah. And if they wind up with the team where you have the Miz and any or all members of the Shield on the same team, I mean, I guess it can't be Rollins and Ambrose because they're supposedly going to be defending the tag titles against the Usos, assuming that they're all still champions.
Yes.
But let me just end that line of thought and jump into this one. I really like the fact that they're theming the entire show as a brand versus brand show, and I would like to see them continue to do that. The champion versus champion matches are a very nice touch.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they're also having 2 traditional Survivor Series style matches.
Right.
So, all right, let's move over to the next topic, which is Jeff Jarrett has officially been released from his contract with Impact Wrestling.
GFW is no more.
GFW is no more. He actually responded saying that, let's see, where was it? It was
saying it was all a lie, that we've got a tour of Canada coming up, and
he that Anthem is broke and they needed him, and out of nowhere today, reports come in that he has now checked into a rehab facility
under the WWE rehab program.
Yes, which, I mean, you got to give, once again, you do have to give Vince and the WWE credit. I mean, the fact that they brought that policy in and said...
And it only took how many people dying?
Well, I know, I agree, but...
You don't get credit for doing the right thing. Okay, you don't get credit for not beating your wife and kids.
Okay, but here's the thing. The WWE never had to do it in the first place.
No, they didn't. And but they're a publicly traded company, and they do have an image to project.
I get that.
They did have from a business
but here's the thing. They opened it up to anyone who worked for the company at any time.
Okay, but that's what that is called. That is called damage control. That is sitting there and seeing, a brain damaged, drug addled wrestler killing his family and himself, and seeing what the worst possible scenario is that comes out of this. Not worst possible, because that's pretty much the worst possible, but they had to do a risk assessment, and they determined that once they discovered that Chris Benoit had this brain damage, that all of these other wrestlers could potentially come in and file a lawsuit against them.
Which there is.
And right, but it took a while, and WWE damn sure put steps in place to show that as soon as they had they had knowledge, they acted.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I still give them credit for doing it.
I like that they do it. Don't get me wrong.
And
but
I also like the fact that they do it. It's not a one-time deal. I mean, look how many times someone like Sunny has gone through.
Hasn't she been cut off, though?
Nope, that was not true.
They said they cut off Scott Hall. Like Stephanie said that.
Yeah, but I still don't think that was the case. I think maybe that is something that had just been said in passing.
Maybe.
But from what it sounds like is that it's whatever you need, they're gonna take care of you. I mean, and the fact that someone like Jeff Jarrett, who, let's be honest, has not been on the best of terms with Vince.
Look, that has nothing to do with it.
No, I know.
Mean, you say that it's open to all prior talents.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that they truly mean it. It is open to all prior talents, whether or not you were one day, one match, or you were there for 15
Well,
20
remember
years.
that again, WWE is a publicly traded company. Vince McMahon is the CEO and the chairman of the board of directors. He's not God anymore.
Yeah.
So he just has matches against God.
So did you watch the video
of Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah.
I watched the beginning of it, and then it got uncomfortable because he was just so drunk. And tonight, I bet a bunch of new people tonight. And I had to turn it off. Mostly because we were starting. But he was lit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not pretty to watch. Let's hope everything works out for him.
Absolutely. Nobody. You don't want anybody to have like problems like that. It's not. No. He's got kids. He's got a wife. Mm-hmm. He needs to be healthy.
Yeah, and
he's not.
We don't know the backstory of everything that's been going on, but eventually we'll find out. With everything that's gone on with the leave of absence, originally for the focusing on the personal matters.
Apparently, there was comments about with what's his name, Ed Nordholm, having issues with the condition that he was seeing Jarrett in repeatedly. Now, is that like physical shape condition, or was he showing up drunk?
Yeah,
I mean, you definitely don't want to slander the guy if he was, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But when you see video evidence that says that he is perfectly capable of showing up and thinking he can work intoxicated once, he's perfectly capable of doing it more than once.
No, definitely. So, well, let's hope for the best. Let's hope he gets a good recovery, gets the help he needs, and gets everything on the right path.
Can I just say that TNA has become like the Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Ed Leslie of wrestling promotions? Like their NWA, TNA, Impact, GFW, Impact, ABC, QFY.
Yeah.
Whatever we're going to call them tomorrow.
It's not good.
They'll have another name next year. And then another name. And I'm just pissed because now I got to go and update the website.
Yeah, well, that's...
And all of my folders for Impact Wrestling are still going to say GFW because then I'd have to do way more updating than I want to.
So, and then...
It's all your fault, Jeff Jarrett. I blame you. I blame you, Jeff Jarrett.
So, last news segment. We'll close it after this. It's looking closer and closer to the WWE is just done with Neville. They took him off of the 205 live opening video. So we're not even seeing him now in the intro to start the show. I just think they're going to let his contract run out. I don't think they're going to release him. I think.
Can I just? Who cares? At this point, who cares? I mean, Neville is not Steve Austin. He's not CM Punk. Sorry, he's not. It was interesting news for the first week. Now at this point, it's just. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be talking about it, because we should, because it's news. Why is it still news? The guy hasn't been on TV in 3 or 4 weeks. He's
3 weeks.
out home. He's back at home pouting or whatever he's doing, and sitting out his contract, collecting his, royalties for his T-shirts or whatever he gets. I don't know. Waiting for his no compete clause to come out, or to come up, or his release to come through, so he can go and be Pac again and go wrestle and become the next ex-WWE guy to join the Bullet Club.
Yeah. I think mainly it's just because people have already watched another guy ask for, we've had a couple. I mean, you had Cody ask for his release, and that was granted. And then you had Austin Aries ask for his release, and he was granted. Now,
it was apparently back at the Performance Center,
which I did read.
It said he was at TLC too, but then that was retracted.
Okay. But I just think, there have been the rumors that there have been other wrestlers who aren't happy with their status, right. So they've been asking
until we get to the point where they start naming names, this is literally speculation.
Just hearsay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the Nia Jax thing. Apparently, Nia Jax got advice from The Rock to walk out on her contract. Now, one, I don't see The Rock doing that.
I don't.
Number
either.
Two. Who's getting this information? What is? Yeah. I mean, what's their phone tapped? The Rock's calling his bestest buddy Dave Meltzer and telling him.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, it's
get real.
Who knows? So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for the wrestling news. Go out, check out our site again, ProWrestlingAlmanac.com.
It is a little bit behind. I apologize. It's
you got an excuse. You've been busy.
I started working and moving and everything. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get it caught up as soon as I can.
All right.
Just bear with me.
Follow us again, Twitter and Instagram at PW Almanac, and on Facebook. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and on iTunes. And then once again, we can be heard on TuneIn Radio and Google Play. So now it's time for our segment that we tried out last week. We're going to do it again.
Really? Goody. I get to show.
Yeah, it's time to play Stump the Almanac.
Yay, I get to look smart. Or, hopelessly nerdy. I have 3 kids and a pregnant wife. I'm really not as bad. That means I have had sex with a woman 4 times.
Oh, dead puppies. So
in dead puppies, is the thought of me having sex turn you on or something?
No. It's just one of those mental images that you just want to get out of your head. All right, so
like you eating.
I got a few. Well, yeah, that's true. I got some. How many do you want to do? You just want to do a couple?
Just give me whatever you're comfortable with, man.
All right. Let's see here.
Wow, that was a homoerotic statement, now wasn't it?
Hey, now. Oh. Okay.
Dead puppies.
Here you go. Shortly after his return, Ken Patera injured Bobby Heenan's neck, forcing him to wear a neck brace. In an act of revenge, Heenan had some of his goons flog Patera on national television. Which Heenan family members did this to Patera?
I don't know. I actually have never seen that part. I did see the reason I started laughing is because I just got the visual of Ken Patera putting his belt around Bobby Heenan's already injured neck and just whipping him around the ring like a freaking maniac. And then I got a visual of Ken Patera shot putting a boulder through a McDonald's window, which is how he went to jail in the first place. And then I went back to the audio clip in my head of Mean Gene Okerlund saying, "Hungry, hungry Ken Patera." So, judging by who was on Heenan's roster at the time, I'm going to say Bundy and Stud.
Bundy was one. There were four, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 1987?
1987. I didn't even tell you the year, so you got the year down.
So let me see who was. I want to say it was before Rude was part of Heenan's stable.
Correct.
Orndorff was a good guy at that point. Let me see who was Harley Race was one of his guys.
So you got two now. You got Harley Race and
King Kong Bundy. He had Andre at this point, but Andre was there so rarely I can't imagine that he was part of it. The Islanders?
Nope.
Haku and Tama?
Mm-mm.
No? Well, then I don't know who the other two would even be.
Paul Orndorff.
Really?
And Hercules Hernandez.
Okay.
So you were close. I mean,
I was. I mean, I said Orndorff, but I had the timing, the wrong side of it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here.
I'll take my 50% and be happy.
Yeah. In 1987, Ricky Steamboat returned to the ring after suffering a crushed larynx at the hands of Randy Macho Man Savage. Mm-hmm. The Dragon made his return by defeating this famous mid-1980s jobber. Who was he?
Oh, geez. That's a tough one. Let me see. The only person I could think of would be Steve Lombardi.
It's not. Okay.
There's a lot of names. There was George South. Barry Horowitz was a 90s guy, so it probably wasn't him.
You want me to give you...
Yeah, give me a multiple choice. Just make sure the right answer is indeed, Mr. Creative.
So your choices are Steve Lombardi, Barry O, Iron Mike Sharp, or Tiger Chung Lee?
Iron Mike Sharp.
Nope.
So it was
Barry O.
It
was Barry O. Barry O is the younger brother of Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yeah, I knew that.
So, all right, let's do one more.
Okay.
In 1987, Adrian Adonis was paired with Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine in a televised six-man tag team match. During the bout, Adrian made a huge mistake and accidentally cut off some of Beefcake's hair. Who did Adonis, Valentine, and Beefcake face in this match?
Wow. See, and the part that makes me angry is that I can tell you where the storyline went, because that's what led to him becoming the barber, and he cut Adonis's hair at WrestleMania 3.
If you want, I can give you the multiple choice.
Yeah, please do, because I'm...
Okay. Lanny Poffo and the Can-Am Connection, the Junkyard Dog and the Killer Bees, Hillbilly Jim and the British Bulldogs, or Ricky Steamboat and the Rougeau brothers.
The second one.
Which was?
The Killer Bees and can't remember the first name. Junkyard Dog?
Nope, it was not. It was Lanny Poffo and the Can-Am Connection.
That was a tough one.
So
those were good questions this week, man.
Yeah,
those are really, really good ones. Very obscure. And so when you start getting into like what happened on X episode of Superstars or something like that, like those are really good questions. Keep those keep those ones coming.
We will keep those coming. It's a lot easier than just the question like who held the title for the longest during 1997.
But see, I would know those.
Yeah. So we're really going in depth and trying to find out whatever we can to see if we can stump you. So
hey, I didn't do so great this week. Last week, at least I did. I answered 8 out of 10. So
yeah.
I hope that I'm showing that this isn't just some gimmick. I do know what I'm talking about when I say I know wrestling. Like my friend Tony once said that he think that I know more about wrestling than most people, and my brother countered with, I think he knows more about wrestling than most people know about anything.
Tis true. I to be honest, I think you've actually forgotten more about wrestling than most people have known about wrestling, truthfully.
I'm actually, the way my memory is, probably not.
It depends. But folks, once again, if you got any questions and you want to try to stump the Almanac, please send them into the email address stumpthealmanac@gmail.com. Once again, Tristan does not have any access to this other than trying to possibly send in an email with a question. I mean, and truthfully, we know his email addresses, so we're good. So but once again, stumpthealmanac@gmail, send them in. We'll keep going with this every week, but right now, even though he's not here with us, he did pre-record his segment, so we're going to go to Chad right now to find out what's happening on social media and in the world of wrestling.
All right, everybody, it's Chad here with the social media, and the biggest news we can have, it just actually came in about a half an hour ago. Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, actually unveiled that John Cena officially has his first Twitter account. His new Twitter handle is @JohnCenaOnly. So go ahead, give him a follow, guys. This is pretty big news. He hasn't had one throughout all this social media era, so let's get him some followers. I mean, I'm sure he'll get blown up pretty good. So that's it for social media, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right, and once again, depending on his schedule, we are going to continue to have Chad back at least once a week when possible to do the social media segment when there's something interesting going on in the wrestling world on social media. But right now, folks, we're going to take a look back into our wrestling history as we are visited by the ghost of wrestling past.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold?
I am.
Who? What are you?
I'm the ghost of
Wrestling's
past.
So for this week's Ghost of Wrestling Past segment, I chose another great event from what I consider to be the best year in recent professional wrestling history, 1997. And I chose my favorite pay-per-view of all time, In Your House 16 Canadian Stampede. This event was highlighted and main evented by a 10-man tag team match featuring the Hometown Heroes, the Hart Foundation. The show was in Calgary, and it was Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog Jim Neidhart, and Brian Pillman versus Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock, Goldust, and the Legion of Doom. Now, the other matches on the card were more than fine. They absolutely pulled their weight. You had Triple H versus Mankind, which was the second match in their 3-match pay-per-view feud, which started at King of the Ring and ended at SummerSlam in a steel cage match. And this was the second match of that series. And it was a great match. And it ended in a double countout. And they kept brawling throughout the show until they were finally broken up. You had the great Sasuke taking on Taka Michinoku in a match that was supposed to jumpstart their light heavyweight division. And one thing a lot of people don't know is that Vince McMahon Actually, probably more Jim Ross, who was, I think, running talent at that time. But the idea for the light heavyweight division was it was supposed to be centered around Sasuke. And Taka Michinoku was like one of his students and one of his young lions that he had, his young boys. And he brought him out to the U.S. with him. They were on ECW Barely Legal a couple of months before this. And then they had this match. And Taka absolutely stole the show in that match. And Sasuke, I guess, got jealous or whatever and bailed. And WWE signed Taka. And the rest is mediocrity, as they say. Because, the light heavyweight division was garbage. But Taka was really good. And this match was really good. And then you had Undertaker versus Vader in a match that was a replacement. It was supposed to be Undertaker versus Ahmed Johnson. And Ahmed Johnson had just joined the Nation, got hurt in, I know, big surprise, Ahmed Johnson got hurt. In a fight between the DOA and Los Boricuas and the Nation. And messed his knee up, was out of the match. And they replaced him with Vader, who had a long-standing feud with The Undertaker, was managed by Paul Bearer, so it worked really, really well. And then you had the big one, which I already broke down, which was the 10-man tag team match. Now, Mike, let me ask you a question. The rest of the card notwithstanding, was this not one of the best events from top to bottom that you've ever seen?
It is up there, yes.
Okay. Why?
Okay. First and foremost, let's I'm gonna segue back just to the pay-per-view that we just had, okay?
Okay.
And this is kind of gonna be why I'm explaining it. The match that happened for that main event at TLC.
Yeah.
Large number of guys. The match was too long. It felt that it was too long, and it took forever.
Right.
Okay. This match was only 24 minutes and 31 seconds, and I felt like I was watching a 45-minute match, and I was never tired.
Yeah, in a great way.
Exactly. It never had a moment where I was just sitting there going, okay, it can end now.
Right.
I mean, from the minute they hit the ring, I mean, it was just, I mean, at one point, and it had been a very long time since I had seen this pay-per-view. I remember one of the first times I saw it was a couple of months after it had happened. I got it on video at Blockbuster at the time.
Maximum Impact.
Yeah, but
God, the U.S. got screwed on In Your Houses, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Maximum Impact 97. Yeah,
but you know, Earl just at one point lost total freaking control of the match.
Of course he did.
You know, this match should have been a no DQ. I mean, with the amount of times that people were running in to break up pinfalls and just, you know, interfering, but it was a great match.
Yes.
I will say that the only person that looked like they should be wearing a cowboy hat during that entire pay-per-view was, of course, JR. I never
but Lawler's hat was awesome.
A cowboy hat again. Lawler's hat was awesome, but it just wasn't,
because he was being jokey. He was being Lawler.
Exactly. Exactly. It was. I'll be honest. I would have rather seen him in a hat like that than him come out in one of those stupid foam cowboy hats.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been funny, but you know, I kind of like the fact that he went with the
10-gallon,
the oversized straw hat that blocked his.
It wasn't a straw hat; it was a leather hat.
Was it leather?
It looked leather, yeah. Okay.
You know, with that being said, you know, I also laughed that here it is. We're in Calgary.
Yeah.
We're at the Saddle Dome, and sitting directly behind Stu and Helen Hart was a guy wearing a Los Angeles Kings jersey. I just,
that is funny.
I kind of got a kick out of that.
So okay, so you've with doing this podcast and also with the WWE Network and everything, you've broadened your horizons more than just WWE. Now let me ask you a question. Through the ECW, Ring of Honor, all of this stuff that we've watched, have you ever seen a crowd as lit for a match as they were for the 10-man tag?
No.
From beginning to end, they did not shut up.
No,
I've never seen anything like it. It shocks me every time.
Honest, the quietest the crowd was leading up to that match was when they were singing "Oh Canada."
Yes. Yes. And see, and here's the thing that I liked is Ken Shamrock still got cheered.
Yes.
Goldust still got some cheers. The Road Warriors still got some cheers. Austin, however, man, it's like Austin walked out, wiped his ass with the Canadian flag, spit in Stu Hart's face. And
tried to choke Helen Hart out with it.
Yeah. It was unreal, and you could tell he was just eating it up, man.
Oh, absolutely loved it. But I mean, this is once again a guy who basically said, playing heel was his favorite thing to do. I mean,
how could it not be? It's harder to make people hate you than to like you. Really. It's easier to make them hate you because all you have to do is diss their hometown or their sports team. But to really make them hate.
Exactly.
They didn't hate Austin. They didn't hate Austin because he said bad things about Canada. They hated Austin because he tried to kill Bret Hart.
Yes.
Repeatedly. I love it. Shawn Michaels is getting gang raped in the ring by Pillman and Bulldog and Owen. And Bret is sitting up at the top of the ramp with in a wheelchair or on crutches, and Austin's just like, oh ho ho, and just ditches Shawn Michaels and goes up the ramp to get Bret. Then he gets thrown off. Then he gets thrown off the ramp by Jim Neidhart. But come on, Austin was a sick son of a bitch.
Oh,
and it was fantastic.
I loved every moment.
How do you not? How do you not? There are so many things that are considered cliche today that Austin did that no one had ever done before.
Okay, such as?
Like what I just said. Completely abandoning his tag team partner, letting him get jumped 3-1 to go after the guy that you're feuding with.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're right. You did not see that kind of stuff back in 1997.
Not in the WWF anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
You might see those things in ECW. I mean, I remember when Austin freaking drove his truck into the arena and then sat on the truck and drank some beers, and then after drinking the beers, drove his truck out of the arena.
Oh,
yeah,
God. He was, that is one person that I wish his career would have gone on longer.
I kind of don't. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong.
I'm not talking Undertaker long. I'm talking a couple more years.
By the time Austin's career ended, he was already on the downslide. If Austin was as big as he was, if Austin was as big in 2002 as he was in 2000 or 99 rather, or early 2001, he would have been the one to face Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't have been facing Scott Hall. If Austin was as over as he thought he was, they wouldn't have asked him to job to Brock Lesnar on a Raw unadvertised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, remember, Austin Austin went at WrestleMania, he went against Scott Hall. And then at Backlash, he was in like a handicap match against Ric Flair and The Big Show. Or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He was on the downslide, man.
Well, but a lot of that had to do with his neck injury, I think.
Okay. I mean, that I will grant you that's possibly why it happened. See, now the what ifs I get is, how great would Steve Austin have been if the chosen corporate representative was Bret Hart in '98? How great a foil for Austin during his run would have been Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
There's so many little what ifs in there, and that storyline between Bret Hart and Steve Austin could have gone on forever.
Oh, definitely.
So, just to get back to the pay-per-view, amazingly we kind of went on a tangent. That never happens. I don't know what happened there. This match was the end of the Bret Hart Steve Austin feud and the start of the Steve Austin Owen Hart feud. Mm-hmm. Because Owen got the pin on Austin. Now, let me ask you a question. Going into this match, was Owen Hart a good guy or a bad guy? Just in general.
Still had a heel persona.
Right. Because Bret was like justified in his actions, at least in his mind. But yes. Remember, Owen was a bad guy when the Hart Foundation formed. Yes. Owen spent the bulk of his WWF career as a heel. Mm-hmm. And a great one. So
definitely.
When Owen pinned Austin, now mind you, in that match, Owen was a world beater as far as the crowd was concerned. He could do no wrong. And it was proven when he beat Steve Austin to a raucous cheer by pulling the tights.
Yeah.
And that led to the SummerSlam match, which we know what happened from there, sadly. And, it although it's so funny, you say that the injury shortened Steve Austin's career. But I would argue that Steve Austin may never have become as popular as he became. Like, as popular as he was going into SummerSlam, by the time we got to, say, like, Survivor Series of the Royal Rumble, he was, like, 1,000 times more popular.
He's even gone on to say that neck injury, when he came back to wrestle, he went from being a more technical style wrestler
to the punch kick,
to the brawler.
Right. But that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that he got hurt at SummerSlam. Okay. Mm-hmm. He and Mick Foley as Dude Love were the tag team champions.
Yes.
So they were going to be defending their tag team championship in a fatal four-way elimination match at In Your House Ground Zero against the Godwins, the Legion of Doom, and Owen and the Bulldog. Well, Austin was forced to surrender the championship. And then Dude Love said, the only reason I'm a champion is because of Austin, so I'm not going to keep my belt if he doesn't keep his. And so the Headbangers took their spot and won the titles. But that was when Austin's Stunner Rampage started.
Yes.
So you have a bunch of really great things that came out of that injury, and I won't go too much into it because it's totally off topic of what we're talking about, but he stunned JR. Then the next night on Raw, he got stripped of the Intercontinental title. He stunned Sergeant Slaughter. Then Owen Hart got a restraining order against him because he was going out and attacking Owen.
Yeah.
And then he kept doing that. But then finally he went and attacked him, and he was about to get arrested by riot police in violation of the restraining order. And this was after he stunned Lawler and punted his crown out to the crowd. And that was when he stunned McMahon.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate the fact that you and the World Wrestling Federation care, and I also appreciate the fact that, hell, you can kiss my ass.
Yep.
And if Austin didn't get hurt, the Austin McMahon feud may have never happened, because that right there is probably what started it. Now, you can argue there's a few other things, you know, the Mike Tyson thing, the oh hell no moment with McMahon and Kevin Kelly, but I say that that was the moment right there that started the McMahon Austin feud. And I'm not alone. I'm not trying to say I'm this big smart guy who picks that one moment and I'm the only one who does it, because I see what other people don't see. It's pretty obvious. He stunned McMahon.
Yeah.
That started their feud.
Yep.
There's other moments that could have done it. I picked that one. But it all started back at Canadian Stampede when Owen pinned Austin. There's also another thing in there. Brett talks about that when they were forming the light heavyweight division, and he refers to it as the junior heavyweight division, and there's a little bit of meat to that, because if you listen carefully during the introductions for the light heavyweight championship match, Howard Finkel says, in our junior heavyweight division. The following contest is our junior heavyweight division. And Bret Hart had said that he wanted to bring Bruce Hart in and be the junior heavyweight champion. And Vince was receptive to it. And then Bruce got a little carried away and took some liberties with during when he had his little interference in that match, and took the crowd's attention away from the finish.
Well, that was one of those where even watching the match, you know, it almost, and this is just me, it almost seemed like with everything that had gone on at the very end of that match with Bruce interfering, that they had, no matter what, they had to give that win to the Hart Foundation.
Well, of course. They were never going to not do that.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is that even though, you know, you can go back there and say, you know, now we had the outside interference from Bruce, and then they could have legitimately awarded the match to Stone Cold's team. It wasn't going to happen, because if they did, you would have had a riot in the saddle.
I mean, okay. So you would have had a few stupid people doing stupid things, which would have turned into a few more stupid people doing stupid things, and then it would have turned into some not so stupid people doing stupid things because they're sheep. So yeah, I could see how something like that could have easily turned into a riot. But
well, I mean, according to Jerry Lawler, I mean, everybody there was related to the Hart family.
Of course.
You know,
Brett says that there's some kid, and I imagine it was the black kid that was in the ring. Brett's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "They asked if I was a Hart, so I said yes, and they let me into the ring." He's like, "Well, enjoy it, kid."
Yep. You know, but yeah, no, I mean, it was. That crowd was into that match from the word go.
Well, the way you can tell how into the match the crowd was is the pop that Jim Neidhart got. They tagged Neidhart into the ring and the crowd exploded.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah. I mean, that is probably the greatest pop that Neidhart has ever had in his entire career.
Probably. Not that he wasn't worthy of them.
No, I mean he was a great tag team wrestler with Brett, and even was a good tag team wrestler originally with Owen and the Newhart Foundation.
Originally, originally in the New Foundation.
Well, yeah.
Come on, I don't think you know what originally means, but that's okay.
Once again, it's been a long day, buddy. But yeah, no, I mean, that crowd...
See, that's when you should have said, stop interrupting me. I'm getting originally.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it was a great match.
It's a great show.
Oh, it was a good show. And every match that was on there was a good show. It was a solid show. But I can't recall a lot of shows in 97 that weren't good.
WrestleMania 13.
Okay, once again, one. That's it.
But
I mean,
WrestleMania
13, but we've already covered the fact that WrestleMania 13 was a one-match show.
Yeah, and it was Bret Hart and Steve Austin. There's a very, very common theme. But to say that the only thing that kept the WWF going in 97 was Bret Hart and Steve Austin would be a misnomer. I mean, not entirely, because they really, really pulled a lot of weight. But you had Mick Foley, you had The Undertaker, Paul Bearer, Kane stuff. You had the rise of DX. You had Brett versus Shawn. Ken Shamrock first coming in, and his feud with Vader was really good. Ahmed and the Nation of Domination was still really good. You had the start of Faction Wars. 97 was an amazing year. I actually got into an argument, I want to say it was on Twitter, with some guy who tried to say that, WWF sucked in 97 because they had lower ratings. There's no way he actually watched the show if he was saying that they sucked, because ratings are not indicative of the quality of the show. The ratings are only indicative of what people are watching, and it's very difficult to get people to change their viewing habits.
Yep.
So if people are watching WCW...
Well, exactly, and I was not one of those guys that would watch WCW on a regular basis. I mean, unless I heard something big had happened on their pay-per-view, or the previous week, I really wasn't tuning into WCW during the Monday Night Wars. I was a WWF guy.
Well, I can tell you that WCW probably would have gotten higher ratings if they would have gotten rid of the replay of Nitro. Because that is how I watched Nitro.
You watched it after.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could probably watch the first hour before Raw or something like that, because TNT always came. No, TNT was always a West Coast live or West Coast feed. TBS was the live one. Yeah. So I would watch it afterwards. Yeah, in California, it just kind of sucks because you would get most shows you get on a 3-hour delay, except for TBS. TBS was always East Coast feed, but TNT wasn't.
I'm trying to remember. Did I have DirecTV at the time?
Yes, you did.
Then I was getting both of them live if I wanted to, because DirecTV always does the East Coast feed. Well, yeah, they would replay Raw again too. I mean, they would because
they had USA West.
Yes. So, but I mean, I would get Raw. I would get Raw live, and then again, it would replay on the West Coast feed after. So we're getting way off track again as usual. I mean, it's part of the fun, but we need to start steering into the skid a little bit. Yeah, but I mean,
it's a great show.
It's crazy to think it was a great show. It's crazy to think that this was literally 5 months before the screw job. Just everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Brett won the title the next month. 3 months later, Brian Pillman died.
Yeah.
In November, Brett Neidhart and Bulldog left. Like the way that the landscape changed after this event it's just incredible. Like 1997 was such a volatile year from beginning to end. Yeah, from beginning to end.
When you look at this pay-per-view, I mean, this, as far as I am concerned, was the last great moment for the Hart family combined.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, this was the peak.
This was the apex. This was the apex of the entire USA versus Canada angle.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, because like you said, after that, I mean, that was it. I mean, Pillman gone, Brett on his way out.
Yeah.
You know, Davey Boy gone, and then unfortunately the untimely passing of Owen a couple years later.
And Davey Boy. He
Boy.
came back to the WWF, but he passed away in 2002.
Yeah.
So, and then Brett, which is, you know, right around the same time that Brett had his stroke.
Yep.
And, well, we won't speak ill of Jim Neidhart. He's gotten himself into some trouble.
Yeah. He's trying to get his act cleaned up, though, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a reason to.
Yep. So, hey, you got to at least, he gave us Natty.
Yeah. I have no ill will toward Jim Neidhart whatsoever. Natty's my girl.
I know she is. So, anything else we want to talk about for this pay-per-view?
I mean, I don't think so. It was a perfect show for me. It wasn't the best. It didn't have the best matches.
But the matches delivered.
Yes,
were on the card.
Exactly, and that's all you can ask for. And not only that, the storylines played coherently through the show, and the show acted as a bridge, not only from one television show to the next, but from one pay-per-view to the next. And it was everything that occurred on the show was done logically. There was no swerves for the sake of swerves, nothing like that.
Well, and that's what I love about a pay-per-view like this one. I mean, here it is. You and I were talking about it, you know, when WWE held No Mercy out here. You know, I wanted to go to No Mercy because No Mercy was being billed as like WrestleMania Part 2.
And did not deliver.
It did not deliver. This one, they didn't build it up like it was going to be anything huge.
It was billed as a one-match show.
One-match show in your house. The only big thing was going to be the Hart Foundation in Canada, you know, but it delivered.
It over-delivered. Like you could not have anticipated the crowd would be like that.
No.
I mean, let's be real. They were talking about mile-long lines to meet Bret Hart.
Yep.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Like, we've waited, in a quarter-mile long line at Pink's? And how long did that freaking take?
About an hour.
About an hour.
20 minutes.
Yeah. And then we wind up sharing a table with John Malkovich, but that's a different story for a different time.
That was pretty fun.
That was pretty cool. Him coming up and asking us if he could sit at our table because there weren't enough seats.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a good time.
It's the growing up, the what happens when you grow up in Los Angeles, people.
That is true. Or like the time I went golfing with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
So, but all right, well, that's it for this week.
Well, we gotta grade the show, man. A+.
Huh?
A+.
Oh. Easily A+.
Yeah.
I don't have a bad thing to say about the show. Loved it. You know, glad you picked it because it had been a long time since I have seen it, and truthfully had forgot about it.
It's my favorite show, and I to be honest, I'm not crazy about the whole just watching a match from the show thing. I like watching the whole show. So yeah. I figured with the pay-per-view,
this was only a 2-hour show,
right?
So I mean, it wasn't that tough to,
and it felt quick.
It did, except for the last match,
right? But it didn't feel long.
It felt long. No, it did feel long, but it felt long in a good way. Like there was so much action.
It felt epic. This is what we were just talking about. That the key to an epic match is not time. It's content. And these guys managed to fit 45 minutes worth of match into 25 minutes.
Easily.
If in your mind. To me, the match felt long but went fast.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was a good one. But you were saying about next week?
So next week would have been Chad's turn, but since he's taken kind of a leave of absence, it's going to rotate back to me for next week's Ghost to Wrestling.
We're still going to pick his show.
We are going to do his show that he had picked. So we're going to do Fall Brawl 97 War Games.
Yep. Should be a fun one. I don't recall having seen this show, so
you and I both know what happened in the main event.
Right.
But other than that, no, I've never seen this one. You had some really good matches. I mean, the opening match, just to give people a heads up of what we're going to be kind of reviewing, was Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Those jabronis, huh? Don't get any good quality out of those guys. What did they ever go on and do?
God, freaking curtain jerkers, man.
Bunch of losers.
So, I mean...
I'd rather see Moon Goose McQueen.
So, yep, we're going to do that next week. So, can't wait to get on that one. And then coming up next, it's going to be time for our Indie Spotlight. Indie Wrestling. 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 Indie Wrestling.
Tonight's featured promotion is Cen-Cal Professional Wrestling out of San Luis Obispo, California. They started up in March of 2015 and have been going strong ever since. Some of the wrestlers that you might know from the indie scene are guys like Tyler Bateman, Masada, Sledge, Funny Bone, Sim Bodie, also known as Kizarny from WWE, and Royce Isaacs, who listeners to the show might remember is my absolute favorite unsigned talent in the world. And speaking of Royce Isaacs, he did just return from a tour of Japan with Dramatic Dream Team, where he briefly held their Iron Man Heavy Metal Weight Championship, making him the only friend that I have that has held a wrestling championship on 2 continents. So that's pretty cool. Back to Cen-Cal. I've had the pleasure of seeing one of Cen-Cal's main stars, Sledge, face off against Royce Isaacs at Primo's Carnival back in 2015. And I can tell you that he is a fantastic talent. He's big, strong, hard-hitting, really good, and his talent level is very indicative of the level of talent that you'd see at a Cen-Cal show. If you're interested in finding out more about Cen-Cal Pro Wrestling, you can find them online at cencalpro.net. They're also on Facebook and Twitter at Cen-Cal Pro, or search for Cen-Cal Pro on YouTube to check out some of their stuff. Now that's C-E-N as in Central and C-A-L as in California. Also, their next big event coming up is on December 9th. Don't have many details on that, but we will make sure to keep you up on it and let y'all know as more details are available. So if you're in the area, you can go and check out this show, which I'm sure is going to be awesome. Also, check out these events if they're in your area. Rocky Mountain Pro presents Shocktober, featuring Lucha Underground's Marty the Moth Martinez on October 27th at 10 p.m. at the Rack House Pub in Denver, Colorado. Tickets are available at therockymountainpro.com. You got Rise Wrestling is presenting Rise of a Champion, and that's going to be on October 28th, 7:30 at the Stronghold in Lamont Furnace, Pennsylvania, and tickets will be available at the door. On October 28th, Rocky Mountain Pro presents Rocky Horror Wrestling Show at 7 p.m. at Romero's Canine Club and Tap House in Lafayette, Colorado, and tickets are available at therockymountainpro.com. New Era Wrestling is having Bird Brawl on November 4th at 6 p.m. at the Buffalo Rose in Golden, Colorado, and tickets for that one are $10. UCW Zero is having the Invasion of the Dead on November 4th, 7 p.m. at the Complex in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is going to have some big names in Lucha Libre, and they're going to have a meet and greet at 4 p.m. That's $15. And the general admission prices for pre-sale is $25 and VIP is $65, and that'll get you into the first 4 rows. You can pre-order the tickets at ucwzero.com, and I would recommend pre-ordering them if you'd like to go because tickets will be $5 more at the door. Primo's Professional Wrestling Triggered will be on November 5th at 7 p.m. at the Watering Bowl in Denver, Colorado, and tickets for that one are $10. Bar Wrestling Head of Household is on November 9th at 9 p.m. at the American Legion, Post 241 in Baldwin Park, California, and you can pre-order tickets for that at brownpapertickets.com. And lastly, Lucha Libre and Laughs is presenting Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die on November 11th at 8 p.m. at the Oriental Theater in Denver, Colorado. And Matt Cross is going to be at this one. You might know him as M-Dog 3000. You might know him as Son of Havoc, but he's a big name. He's a great talent, and he's going to be at this show. The tickets are $10, and you can pre-order them at theorientaltheater.com. And as always, if you do attend any of these events or any other wrestling event out there, please send us the results to prowrestlingalmanac@gmail.com so we can get them added to the website and further our goal of having the largest collection of independent wrestling promotions and results on the internet.
Remember, folks, check out our website again, prowrestlingalmanac.com. Give us a follow. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PW Almanac. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and on iTunes. You can also subscribe to us and hear us on TuneIn Radio as well as Google Play. If you want to try to stump the founder of the ProWrestlingAlmanac.com, Tristan, once again, send us your trivia to stumpthealmanac@gmail.com. So that's it, folks. The ref has given us the 10 count, which means we're done. So until next week, I'm Mike. And for Chad and Tristan, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again when the bell rings.